was in Germany at the beginning of my career, and well, I had a lot of fun there and doing all sorts of things that were, probably not on the up and up. It's everybody's kind of young upbringing. There was one soldier who, for some reason, could not avoid getting into all sorts of trouble. And at one point, he started selling drugs, thinking this was a lucrative thing to do while in Germany. He sold them to Germans, he sold them to other soldiers, and he consumed quite a bit of them. So he failed every test that the military gave him. And so at one point, finally, he got convicted for all of his stupid crimes. And so at this particular time, I was one of the people that had to go bring him to Mannheim Prison. And so there were two of us, two of the soldiers, and him. He was in the back, basically not handcuffed or anything, just, chilling out in the back, because it wasn't like he was going to try to escape because he'd have nowhere to go. He was in Germany, didn't know anybody other than people he sold drugs to. So he was going to jail. And so we drove up to the Mannheim prison and, got to those big gates, big barbed wire fences. We got up there, and then some GI with a shotgun held over his shoulder comes over to our vehicle. We had this military van, and he goes, "What can I do for you guys?" And so I said, "We have one of your new residents in the back over here," pointing to the guy who was selling too many drugs and got caught. So he looked back at him, said, "Okay, just pull up to the next front thing," and opened up the gate, and we kind of went through. So the next place we went to, there was this huge yellow line on the ground that led into the building. And so when we got there, another two soldiers came up to the vehicle with various weapons on them. And so they knocked on the side of the vehicle and turned to me and said, "What's the deal?" And I gave the paperwork that we were supposed to give to them. Guy looks at it for a second, opens up our van, and starts yelling in a voice that I don't think drill sergeants could have ever imagined. And he was like, "You get out of here, you stand up, you move over here, you get..." And he was just barking orders at the guy who was basically half asleep in the back of the van. And so this guy gets up and, runs over where he says, and the guy says, "Move over here, move over there." And he just keeps different directions to him constantly. I think it was designed to just throw him off balance. And so in the middle of this, "You go here, you go there, you go there," he turns to me and he goes, "So you can park right up here and, turn around over there and you'll be fine. And then you can kind of meet us in through the back. You can go through the door that's up over there, not the one we're going to be taking him through." And he turns back to me, "I didn't tell you to smile, I didn't tell you to do anything," and just starts yelling at him. And then they start forcing him basically through that doorway. So we go in, we park the van, get into the door that he says. And so when we get there, there's a couple of people saying, you want something to drink, or you want, to us." And then the other guy gets in through the door on the other end, and the people offering us, a beverage starts screaming and yelling at him and telling him, "You do not move off this line." And so they're pushing him forward, like he's supposed to go through this next door. And so this one guy's following him, and he's got the shotgun in his hand, and he's like, "I haven't been able to shoot anybody in quite a while. Move off that line, you're next." And this guy seemed serious. So our prisoner guy stayed completely on that line, pretty much scared to death. And then that same guy who was like, I'm following you, I can kill you at any time, turns over to us and he goes, "So, anything else you need? Or, you can take your van and go back out and everything's fine." And then turns back to him and, "I told you," and then just screaming and yelling at him. And then he disappeared through a door and we never saw him again. So that was my experience of taking a prisoner to prison while I was in the military. And let's just say, having seen that, I decided right then and there, with all the stupid things I was doing in the military, I was never, ever going to make that mistake. And I never did.